perfect and holy light of God, innocence of all creation. This is the moment to accept the truth, which is the light of all life. This light of life does not dim or diminish by your own ideas of what is true or what is not true. The light of eternal life never alters from its complete capacity of love that is all of life. The belief in a temporary identity that has been adopted by a separate perception truly means nothing. The only meaning that it has is the meaning that you give it. And in that meaning that you give it, you suffer. You suffer in a belief that there is something that could be different from the source of all life. You suffer because you believe that what you have perceived with the senses has accuracy. And you suffer because you listen to the reactions that come from the mind that keep trying to affirm, I know something. In separation, I know something. That designates aloneness and a separate life. Even though none of this is real, the power of thought is convincing to the mind that has put its faith in a separate identity. But love is always right here, right now. And nothing that any mind can think of in the belief of wanting to attack and wanting to punish and wanting to prove what it knows. Nothing that mind can conjure up can change the truth of love that is always right here. The call for love and the call to love is always whispering, always beckoning. But here in this moment, a new choice can be made. The choice to drop the swords of battle, the swords that have been made in the name of self-protection. The happiness of realizing how upside down those choices have been is the happy learning and the embrace of thank God I was mistaken. Thank God I've never been right about anything. That everything that was made up from the senses, from the accumulation of perceived facts, holds no truth at all. That only peace exists, that only harmony is real. And that the choice to turn away from the battle and turn to God is the journey. And every beloved will walk that journey and can only delay themselves through the insistence of being right. The journey to love is guaranteed. But the delay is a choice. And the only purpose of delay is the attachment to pain, the attachment to suffering. There is no suffering in love. There is no enemy in love. There is no other in love. And in this moment, right here, right now, is all the healing possible. Your yes to follow the way of love is the only gift you can truly offer to yourself and to humanity. The yes to love. The yes to entering the schoolroom of love and being happy to learn. Being happy to be redirected. To place yourself at the feet of knowledge and happily ingest the divine teachings that are always offered. The source of love is always present and available. The truth is always present and available. The blessings are always present and available. The divine alchemy of love's transformation is always available and present. Step by step, beginning with the simplicity of this moment, the surrender of this day. Everything that you thought you knew about it, humbly surrendered. And with deep honesty, the willingness to let the spirit of love shine its light on all the thoughts that were made in separation in this day, all the temptation of battle, all the thoughts that made their way through the emotional body to stir reactions and resistance and defense. Now, in this moment, surrendered. And truly inviting the illumination to see as deeply as possible the strategies that have been used to play the game of defense, to play the game of scarcity, to play the game of all separation. Gladly, happily surrendering this day completely into the hands of God and inviting the breathtaking power of transformation. In this moment, breathing, coming out of the mind, and the willingness to be dropping down into the heart. And breathing and inviting the heart to open and to truly want the melting into every beloved, to open the heart to its breathtaking communion with every beloved, with all life. Come, come, come. Invite the melting. And as you continue to breathe, surrendering the identity of being a body, the willingness to accept that in the body identification, all fear exists. Fear is made to protect a body identity, as if you are in danger when there truly is no danger, except the self-attack of separate thoughts that are determined to win and be proven right. Surrendering all thoughts, including the identity of being a body, into the truth of love. And breathing, wanting and willing to meet the divine spirit within. The spirit of love that has never changed. The spirit of love that is eternal and that has no limitation and has no fear of death. The divine spirit of love that is the truth of all spirit. One heart in devotion, rejoining in the divine union of love itself. And breathing and allowing, accepting forgiveness, the self-forgiveness of all thoughts of this day that have come from the past, and forgiving all thoughts that have been placed on any beloved in the belief of separation. Surrendering in this moment all identities that have been put on anyone or anything. The willingness to surrender all those false identities into the heart of God. Disowning the possibility that anyone could have a separate identity. The willingness to be in complete service to the remembering and the embracing of the divine oneness of all creation. One heart devoted to remembering. In this moment, affirming that here in the infinite circle of love, there is only one heart, the divine union of love lives in the infinity of this divine circle of love. This divine circle of love cannot be broken, cannot be damaged, cannot be maligned, cannot be changed, and eventually will be accepted as the truth of all life. The infinite circle of love. The only place that God exists. Infinitely present. There is only one presence here. It is the infinity of love in its divine perfection. The universe is all love. Nothing else exists. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. The spirit of love, the life force of God, is not regulated by a body and has no allegiance to a body identity. The willingness for the veil to be lifted and the spirit be remembered. And that divine spirit is in the infinity, the circle of love. one presence, willing to be acknowledged and embraced as the belief of separation is forgiven and disowned. One heart, remembering. Allow this prayer to enter your heart and become an anthem in your everyday life. Letting prayer sing through your heart as you walk in this world, wanting only to remember the truth of God and offering love and blessings and comfort in every moment with the extension of reality. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road, to be a child of yours on earth and walk the path the Master showed. Oh, my Mother, help me love, give me comfort to be aware, to obey these sacred teachings. It was your Son who showed the way. Oh, my Master, your compassion can see through this pain, for it was you who came to earth to release us from these chains. Oh, my Father, I am yours. Give me comfort to be aware. Send your angels to receive me on this sacred path of the sun. Oh, my Father and my Mother, who rule the world of love, send your angels to receive me through the gateway of pure love. How often is the formula for strength needed? Oh, my Father, give me strength all day long. With every little turn, with every little twitch, with every little temptation to think something else is real. Oh, my Father, give me strength. Give me courage on this road of truth. Help me to remember in this moment the truth of all love. Give me strength every time I turn away, every time I nod away, every time I think I know something. In separation, bring me back. I ask for the strength to turn back to the truth. I ask for the strength of honesty, to truly want to be honest about all of the mistaken identities that I make throughout the day and truly surrendering them into the hands of God in honesty and consistency. I say, yes, give me the strength to see through the eyes of love, through the heart of love. I ask for strength. I ask for light. I ask for illumination. And when I ask, it is given. I ask. I saw a great radiance. I saw a fountain of knowledge, and I drank of her water, and she gave me the strength to carry on. I heard her voice, and in this river of God, I put myself to navigate. I took her boat and I encountered the truth within the Holy Grail of love. I heard her voice and her song said to me, whoever drinks from this chalice of truth has a path to uncover. I heard her voice, I heard her song. Whoever drinks of this chalice has a secret to uncover. Praise in the heights to the one who offers this power. They are the holy, blessed truth and the power of love that is accepted. Eu vi grande e clara, vi fonte do saber. Eu bebi da sua água, me deu a força para vencer. Nesse rio de Deus, eu me pus a navegar. Eu tomei a sua barca, a grau sagrado foi encontrar. Ouvi a sua voz, é o seu canto eu me dizer. Quem bebe desse cálice tem caminho a percorrer. Ouvi a sua voz, eu vi o seu cantar. Quem bebe desse cálice tem segredo a desvendar. Hosana nas alturas é quem deu esse poder. São santas palavras, benditos em natureza esse poder. I saw a great radiance and a fountain of knowledge. When you are in the mind of separation, you're not available to the great radiance and the fountain of knowledge that is available in the yes. When you choose what you think you know from the past in the privacy of your mind, you're not available to the great radiance, not because the great radiance is kept from you or it's some kind of punishment, but because you're believing in punishment and choosing punishment by not opening to the divine light that is always the presence of love and who you truly are. The sanity would say, why would you ever choose anything else? What could possibly be so tempting as to want to leave love and play a game of battle and war? And that is the question that the willing heart asks. Why would I choose pain and suffering instead of love and harmony and peace? Fear is always the cause. The belief in fear, a belief that is so upside down from the truth, that love is feared and hate is respected. Upside down it is. Sometimes it can be recognized in others. In the wars of the world and in the shaking of the head when countries are at war, not realizing that the only place of healing of the wars of the world is in the surrender within. the power of love is the only gift you can offer. It is the gift that has been offered by every master who incarnated onto the earth plane to help beloveds remember. It's the only gift. I saw a great radiance. I drank of the fountain of knowledge, and she gave me the strength to carry on. When you try to find your own strength in what you know, and in the body identity is what you know, there will always be conflict. There will always be pain and suffering. And there is no pain and suffering in the truth of God, in the truth of who you truly are. To hold in your heart as you walk in the world, affirming, I cannot suffer except when I'm in my own mind of what I think I know. I can't suffer if I am offering love and blessings. I can't suffer when I am reveling in the brilliance and perfection of every beloved and in full appreciation of their exquisite innocent self. I cannot suffer when I surrender and follow the way of love and the guidance that is always in my heart, waiting to be listened to. Praise. Praise to the truth. Praise to love. When the heart is in a state and singing praise, there is no suffering. Suffering cannot exist in the praise of the heart and in the peace of all life. Oh, my Father, give me strength. Let me drink from this chalice to give me the strength to hold the truth of love and to offer only peace and harmony and joy as my gift. That is not mine alone, but the gift of life, the gift of love. And let me surrender all agendas, all concepts of the future and the past, and awaken to this present moment where all love exists, right now, right here. Praise for love itself. This one is mine. Someone put you on a slave block, and the unreal bought you. Now I am coming to your owner, the ego, and saying, this one is mine. You often overhear us talking, and this can make your heart leap with excitement. Don't worry. I will not let sadness possess you. I will gladly borrow all the gold that I need to get you back to where you truly belong. The gold is the truth. The gold is the awakening. To enter into healing, it's essential to recognize that to be in what you think you know is to be a slave on a block, at the mercy of the belief in hate. This is where the honesty starts. The honesty starts in the recognition of what the past really is. It takes courage to accept and recognize that to be believing in the past and an identity of separation is to be a slave. To be a slave to the past is a condemnation that is self-given. For so much of the journey, there isn't a recognition that the past is slavery and that the past has no truth, no reality, that it was built on an idea of being an identification that you made in this world and that you actually believed, and everyone has believed, everyone who's incarnated has believed, that that identity was real. But to accept and to finally realize, oh, this is what slavery is. To be a slave to a false identity. And for most of incarnation, not even realizing you have a choice. That there is a choice to remember the truth of all life and to step out of that identity of slavery. Why is it so resistant to come to remembering love? Why does it seem that so few take the plunge and walk the way that the masters have shown? Because in the upside downness, there is a wanting to defend the past. And at the same time, want to escape from it as if somebody else made it. And that's really the key. The key really is that as long as you believe that someone else made your past, you can look for the culprit in everyone you meet. You can look for the payback in everyone you meet. You can hold everyone accountable for your identity of being a slave. It is the most exquisite realization to finally accept this was not the truth. I came into this incarnation believing in separation and made an identity that completely reflected aloneness, pain and suffering, and the belief of death. To finally accept, I stepped onto the slave block and declared myself separate. And now I willingly not only step off of the slave block, but I give the gold from my heart to set everyone free of all the slaves that I made and brought with me in the identities that I gave to everyone. The humility of accepting, I don't know who anyone is, truly. But I'm here. I'm here to remember and to accept with perfect faith in each beloved that they are the light of God and nothing else. And as that is defiantly accepted, and it is a defiance, it's not a battle, but it is a defiance. It's a defiance against the past of being a victim, of being without choice, using defiance for love. I will not accept the past and hold anyone in the past. I surrender it, and I'm willingly purchased by God. Someone put you on a slave block, and the unreal bought you. God is constantly saying, come home. That is the gold that God offers. Come home. But you can't bring the beliefs of separation with you. You can't bring a false identity with you. You come naked, emptying everything, throwing it all into the bonfire of love, and truly accepting only love exists. Only love is real. In the belief of separation, you can actually only see the past. This is an acceptance that is, again, an acceptance that is essential to recognize. I can see only the past when I think I know something. I was speaking to a beloved a few days ago, and felt called to speak about a learning that I had received 20 years before. A small little learning that was beautiful and perfect. And I began to repeat the learning, the gift of this learning. And in that moment, I was exactly where I was when I received the learning. I was in the car, exactly in a particular place on the highway. I was completely in that place with that learning. Every time you have a thought, you are in the past in that same way. That was presented in that moment to show how insidious the belief of the past can be. It will take you and you will be completely not here. In that moment, there was no leaving. There was just the awareness of how, with every idea that you have of separation, you are completely not here. You are completely in the past. And there is no love there because you are in an illusion that does not exist. It didn't exist when you believed it originally, and it doesn't exist now. But every single thought you have transports you completely into the past, and you have no connection to the present. The honesty of that is essential because without it, the mind is playing a game and using words of being present while the mind is actually not present. And the honesty really is to accept and to ask and to want to learn to be present. To really want to be taught. It's a deep learning. What the ego likes to do is to take a spiritual teaching and decide that it knows how to do that. But the healing is actually in the surrender. It's in the I don't know, please teach me. Please show me. If you were walking in the desert and you didn't know which way to turn, and you're just in the middle of the desert and you have no idea where to go to leave the desert, you would have to ask for help. You would have to ask for help. You wouldn't just be going off. Let's see, maybe I'll go 300 miles this way in the desert, or 800 miles this way, or 1,000 miles this way. You would ask for help. And this is the calling of learning, to be shown the way out of the past, to truly want to learn to be present, the Holy Spirit will show you the way in the asking. But it's a question also of having the honesty, which is consistency, of wanting that all the time. It's not something that you make a plea for once and then you go back to regular programming. You have to ask all the time, because the habit of the past is a trance. And when you're in the trance, you stop asking. You stop wanting to learn. The seduction of the trance at first is the rubber band of constantly going back to what you know. But the more that you realize what you truly want and you devote yourself to that, it's asking all the time, teach me, please. I don't know. One of the tricks that the ego loves is to use knowing in the name of spiritual healing. So the ego says, I got it. I got it once, and now I'll take over. I won't ask anymore. You don't have to ask. I got it. I have figured it out. I know what I'm doing now. And it likes to take every illumination and use it for its own purposes of a spiritual ego. The asking is so essential because it's where the humility is. And it's where the learning is. And it's where the awareness is that, just like being on a slave block, there is an honesty of, oh, that's slavery. It has no connection to love. The past has nothing to offer. There is nothing that I can bring with me from the past and use it except if it has been completely surrendered into the hands of God and now is used by the Spirit of love for learning and for offering truth. That's the only way that the past can actually be used, is by the divine alchemy of love. It can't be used by the mind that made it up to begin with. It can't serve, except as it is diligently and happily surrendered and completely forgiven, surrendered into the hands of God to be transformed. And then it becomes the place of learning. And for that learning, you have to be available in honesty to look at what you believed and with an honesty be able to accept there was no love here. There was no truth. And every little bit of this past identity was used in the name of separation. There was no love here. Every beloved that comes off of the slave block comes off because they're willing to learn to love. And the willingness to surrender to the spirit of love that is saying, come home. Come home. In the belief of separation, no one will choose to let go what he believes has value. That's where all of the pain and the suffering within the spiritual journey happens, is the refusal to let go of what you still believe you value. So it is essential not only to see yourself on the slave block and to recognize it for what it is. This is not where love is. And to really recognize and accept that what you have valued is really what has no value. But because the ego system is so bent on self-protection, trying to protect a self-image that you believed was your safety, and there is a great resistance to the acceptance of what has no value. There is a defense of what you have valued. There's a bargaining to keep what you have valued and to keep parts of it. Every time that there's pain and suffering in the perceived journey of healing, it's because there is something being held on to that you're determined to be right about and hold on, really hold on to it and protect it. But the more that you can embrace the leap of faith, which to the world seems insane, it will seem insane. The ego will scream that it's insane to put your faith in the truth of love and to let go of what you have valued from the past and to look at it honestly. So it's all upside down and distorted. You don't believe that you believe in scarcity. You don't believe that you have held a belief of scarcity because in your mind, you are going for all of the stuff in the world that you believe will give you your worth. So it looks like the ego is right and God is wrong. You value your possessions in the world, believing that how could you believe in scarcity when you have such an affinity for possessions? When you honor the possessions, when you honor what you believe that you have valued, then when the truth is brought to your awareness that you have believed in scarcity, the mind is saying, I don't see that. That's not true. These possessions are things that I believed in my abundance because I've earned every one of them. Not recognizing that the scarcity is actually completely connected with the belief that something outside you is giving you worth. That something outside is going to keep you safe. It's going to give you a better identity. When the insanity of being on the slave block begins to be recognized and be accepted, then the learning really begins, because you begin to accept that in all the upside downness, I don't know the truth. I can't know the truth in what I've known of the past. And that all of the sacred teachings and all of the prayer of wanting to remember the truth and opening to that honesty, the Holy Spirit will show you the truth. But you have to want to see the truth, not be afraid of the truth because you're afraid you're going to lose your kingdom that you've made and all that you hold as important and real within that kingdom. Through relationships, the insanity is recognized, or it's actually easier to recognize it through relationships, because you can't control like you would like to control relationships within the world, because everybody has their own insanity. And then you have to really learn that I can't control others' insanities because I can't control my own. So then everything has to start being surrendered, placed on the altar of love, and say, I don't know. I don't know the truth. I don't know what's real. I don't know how to look at anything. I need help. Show me the way of truth, and I will follow. I want to learn. I want to learn the truth and step out of the insanity that I've made of the relationship to everything in the world and the belief that I'm separate from it all. The ego establishes, and remembering that the ego is completely the past, everything about it. The ego establishes all relationships to get something. To get something. Proof of worth, the belief of safety, which can include an image, because you believe a better image is going to give you safety. a better defense system. It's always looking for something through relationship. And relationship is everything within the world that you believe is separate from you. And relationship is non-existent when you're not aware of the truth of who you really are. Whole and complete in love. The only place to find the truth of love is within. You can't get anything from outside yourself. You can't get peace and harmony outside yourself. You can't get it through making better structures and giving things value that have no value. It's not possible. But how can you surrender except through the wanting of the heart? To have that honesty, to have that truth within yourself, enough honesty that you recognize, I've made slavery seem real. And I honestly want to remember the truth of love. I want to come home. And I can't come home and hold a false identity. It's not possible. So I willingly ask for help. My Father, give me strength. Give me courage on this road to learn to be a child of yours and walk the path that the Masters showed. All day long is the opportunity. Every day is the opportunity of that surrender. And that loving willingness to say, I don't know, and to step out of the habits of condemnation and to accept, even in the teaching, which is a leap of faith for sure, that condemnation only comes from my own mind. Everyone in the universe has believed that they were condemned by somebody else. That the condemnation came and that the identity came because of others putting you on the slave block. But only your own condemnation keeps you from remembering love. And you have the key. You have the key to the door of love. It's forgiveness. It's the forgiveness within of the willingness to accept what is really condemnation and what is acceptance of love. That every thought that you have of believing that someone has something that you need from them, it's a self-condemnation. And it condemns them, of course, because they can't give it to you. No one can give you, and nothing can give you worth. that worth is within you as you remember the truth of love. The love that you are, the light that you are, the perfection that you are, that has nothing to do with your identity, is waiting to be discovered. And it's only able to be discovered as you honestly surrender what you think you know in the belief of your own making. How many times a day do you have ideas that something is happening when nothing is happening? When you conjure up ideas in your mind, and whole cities come from it in your mind. Whole stories come from it in your mind. It's an amazing thing. You build a story about somebody or something, and you believe it. And there's even a reluctance to let it go, because it's so habitual. And yet, what is it for? And all the divine teachings of love are always available to you in your prayer, in your yes, show me the way. Take me deeply, 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 deeply into the caverns of love that I have never before remembered. Give me the courage to go so deeply that I can't find my way out anymore into the habits of the past. Let me drop to my knees all day long and say, lead me, please. Show me what's most helpful. I don't know. Unravel my insistence on self-protection. Your prayer will always be answered. Always. But it takes courage to even have the prayer, because the resistance to love is all that you've known. It's impossible to recognize, certainly is impossible for the mind to recognize, that at the same time that you're saying, I want to learn to love, there is an ego saying, no, I know exactly what love is, and I want to hold on to what I have and how I want it and what it means to me and the result that I want. There is such a fear of losing. And yet, every teaching promises, every teaching of love promises, you won't lose. You will only remember the truth. But your faith has to be front and center. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road to walk the path that the Masters showed. That acknowledgement of the Masters who have shown the way for you in every teaching that has been offered since the beginning of the belief of separation. To follow that in faith is to the ego to say you're a fool, and to stop listening to that arrogant voice of the ego that says it's foolish to want to learn to love. It's foolish to want to come home to God because it's a sacrifice. You won't get what you want. Everybody has fantasies in their minds about what their world should look like. And it's like a tenacity of, I'm determined to hold on to this, even though it's made me miserable for 10,000 lifetimes. It's never worked. It's never brought me to peace. It's never brought me to any harmony or love. Let me have the strength to ask for help and to refuse the tenacity of the ego's habits. Imagine that you actually would hold in your heart so diligently, so strongly that you truly go so deeply into the commitment that you do not want to have one more thought about anyone as anything but the light of God. That you do not want to have one more reaction, one more moment where you think of anyone as anything other than the light of God. That every single moment of every day that you surrender and trust and rest in God's unfolding. That this is your entire purpose. And that you have actually the power within your yes to step into that. Of how delicious a place it is. Of, I don't want ever to have another thought of condemnation. I don't want to have one more thought ever of judgment of anyone or anything. That I know anything. I am available. I want to come off the slave block. I want that deep surrender. I want to remember. Because what I am being called to remember is peace that cannot even be imagined by the mind that made up condemnation and battle. But I'm saying yes to peace, to harmony, to joy that is beyond comprehension in any way to the mind that made up condemnation. I'm saying yes. And how much love that is already just in the willingness to say yes. You know, when beloveds do extraordinary things in the world, such as dive into a frozen river to pull somebody else out, when they run into a burning building because there's someone in there. And that courage takes over. I must love. I must go beyond my familiar and offer love. That's the calling from within. You don't have to go into a burning building. You don't have to dive into an icy river. It takes the same courage to embrace, I don't ever want to have another thought. Give me the courage, give me the strength to deny the lies of the past. Give me the courage, give me the strength. I want to embrace this complete commitment to love's calling and to revel in the power that I have of choice in the moment when my past identity is screaming, look, you're being unfairly treated, and refusing its authenticity, refusing to buy it one more time. And then if you do buy it one more time, to forgive as quickly as possible and come back and begin again. To forgive the mistaken identity and want to learn from that mistake. Want to see with honesty what pulled you in again. And to honestly want only the truth to be illuminated and held as real. This is the power of the journey. This is the power of the acceptance of love's calling. Only your own forgiveness can set you free. The forgiveness that you were mistaken. I was mistaken. What a humble, humble place this is. It's not a place of humiliation. It's a place of humility. And humility is so exquisite because everything falls away in that moment. And humility is love. Humility is the essence of love. It says, only my own forgiveness can set me free. I must forgive. I must forgive the lies that have come from my mind, that have run my life, that have no truth. I want to set everyone free. I want the wars that have been believed in to be let go. I want to join. I want to come home to this divine, exquisite union, this infinite circle of love that is the only truth of existence. I want to bathe in this infinite circle of love. These aren't just words. This is a state of being that is being covered up with the lies of separation. I want to remember. And I want the strength. I want the strength of truth. I don't want to play in this game of weakness anymore and pretend that it is strength because I have decided to use it as a weapon. No, I don't want to play anymore. I want to learn. I want to remember love. There are no small upsets. All of this idea of small and big, more and less, is all fabricated. It has no reality. There is no problem. Truly, there is no problem. The addiction to problems is also being called to be surrendered. That the mind has a scout that goes out and looks at everything through the eyes and the lens of a problem, that is the ego's domain. It revels in finding problems that it's making up. There are no problems. The only problem is that you believe you are separate from God, separate as an identity that you have made in the belief of separation. And because you are not ever and never have been separate from God, you cannot leave your source. You cannot. It's not possible to leave the source of your existence. It is not possible. But to believe that you have left your source and that you have separate problems and that they're real and that they're viable in whatever way that they appear to you is to believe in something that doesn't exist. To accept there is no problem. Whatever I am believing that I am seeing is because I have made a separate world and a separate identity of battle in the belief of scarcity and lack, the belief of unworthiness to love. It has no reality. There is no problem. No one is doing anything. There is nothing happening that demands retaliation and action. Nothing is happening. You are not separate from God, whether you believe it or not. You cannot be separate. You can believe whatever you want, and you can make up feelings and ideas that you buy as authentic. But in truth, it cannot be separate from the truth of love. There is no problem. And to deeply, deeply surrender again the belief in problems, the belief that the problems that show up, which is guaranteed in the belief of separation, that there are 1,000 problems a day that you can conjure up, or maybe even more. But there's a never-ending supply. And at some point, you refuse. Why not now? Eventually, you're going to remember, and you're only going to remember through the refusal of believing anymore that there's any problems. So now is the moment. Is there a resistance to refusing problems? That's where the honesty is. What I refuse to give this resistance any more authority. I choose. I choose the truth of God. And I am willing to find the power within that choice that I can choose. And I must choose to return home. Not because you left, not because you went anywhere, but because you believe in another world that you made up. And it has seemed real to you. And now God is calling you to return to love. There is no problem. And the manifestation of transformation is in your choice. The manifestation is completely your choice. You can experience, you can be completely home in truth by your choice. By refusing the lies and calling on the power of love and reuniting with the truth of power. The truth that you are not a body. You are not condemned to death. The body will fall away. Your divine spirit, the truth of who you are, is eternal. You will step out of the body identity. You will not leave the body identity just because the body falls away. If you continue to believe that you are a body, you will enter another body because that is what you decide. But you don't have to. To be the eternal light and wisdom of the universe as the creation of God is your choice. I am not a body. I cannot die. Only the eternal life of love is real. I must love. I must learn to love. I must walk with the divine as I am learning every moment to accept only love, to accept peace and harmony and joy, and to put all faith and trust in the truth of love itself. I must love. This one is mine, God says. There's a welcoming home. I will accept my welcome home. And all that is required is to stop believing what you think you know and to refuse any thoughts of separation, to open the heart, the willingness to embrace every beloved as the light of God, and having no expectations or worries or concerns or belief in problems that anything else is anything at all. Only love is reality. Only love is this moment. To no longer want to live in the past seems pretty straightforward. and to surrender the future into the hands of God to only be used by God for love. And you be the servant of that love. And to accept that as you surrender, as you sink into the silent, quiet heart within, you will learn of yourself. You will learn the truth of yourself through that divine communion that is waiting within to be accepted, return home to the divine within. Return in your awareness, because this is truly where you are. You've never been anything else. You are only the light of God, not the you think you know. That identity disappears in the yes to love, in the yes to harmony and peace, and refusing everything else. I must love. It's simple. Simple, simple, simple. There's nothing complicated about offering love. There's nothing complicated about honesty and consistency and forgiveness. To forgive everything you thought you knew. Only my own forgiveness can set me free. What I made, I must let go. Rejecting the lies of separation. I must love. I must love. There is no peace except the peace of God. I must love.